Well, welcome to this episode of the AI Chefs, the tips and tricks show, what we call AI recipes to help you get the most out of your AI assistant or AI tools. Welcome, Chef David, to our kitchen.
Good to see you, Chef Kevin, and looking forward to seeing you in person in a few weeks.
That's right. By the time this airs, maybe it'll be in a week at Enterprise
Yeah,
Connect, which goes from March 17th to March 20th.
we'll have
So
a
yeah,
lot
it'll
of
be
AI
great.
recipes at that
There,
show.
there you go. Absolutely. Now, one of the things I noticed, Chef David, is my either my head grew or my hat grew this time. So my chef's hat is larger than yours.
Yeah,
I don't think that indicates anything in terms of intelligence. In fact, it's probably the
it
reverse from
might.
that.
No, I don't
I
know.
I don't I don't know. So okay. So this time, I'm going to share not so much a recipe, but I'm going to talk about ingredients, right? So and I have a few visuals, so you can
Are you
teleport
ready
us.
to?
I guess I'm ready to teleport. Ooh, here we go. So, when you're cooking, of course, using the best and freshest ingredients makes a huge difference, regardless of what recipe you follow. And what I wanted to mention and talk about a little bit is the same thing holds for AI and your AI assistant, right? So if you go to the next slide, the analogy becomes um, with AI, your ingredients are your prompts, and we've talked about that a lot in terms of how to provide a lot of information into your prompts. And of course, if the AI tool you're using remembers, has memory of your previous conversations, that also helps because those are the fresh ingredients that make your recipe better. But also, especially in the context of an AI assistant that might be integrated into your UC suite, um, the context that it can access, and the fancy thing is RAG or retrieval augmented generation. This makes a big difference. So some AI assistants have access to what I'll call better quality AI ingredients. That means that they can access your chats and your email, your calendar, your meeting summaries, business documents, and previous conversations. And specifically, that's like Google Gemini when you use it in a workspace, or Zoom AI Companion in Zoom Workplace, or Microsoft Copilot in Office 365. That's not a comprehensive list. There's also Slack AI and others. But the key thing is when your AI has access to better quality ingredients, if you go to the next slide, you can do things like this: summarize key communications I've had with my colleagues over the last week, include emails, chats, meetings, also note any commitments that it appears I or they have not completed. And it says note completed. But the good thing is AI figures it out even when you misspell stuff. So how does this work? Well, it won't work if you're using one of the standalone AI, tools, because it doesn't have access to this. But this I happen to do in Copilot, but you could have done the same thing in Zoom AI Companion if it's connected into your calendar or email, and same thing with Google Gemini. So you can see here, um, AI with the good quality ingredients can do certain things. And in this case, when I said my colleagues, potentially it accessed the Microsoft Graph to figure out who are the people that I typically collaborate with. More likely than not, it just actually looked at emails over the past week and said, hey, all those people are people that you collaborate with. So that's an example. And then if you go to the next slide, and this is like, just to remind you, we talked about formatting. Of course, you can do the same thing. And then I said, hey, put it into a chart. So this was another recipe before, just in terms of, hey, if you want it in a particular format because it makes it easier to digest, this combines good quality ingredients with the power of AI formatting. And we'll go to the last slide, which is just yet another example where, detailed prompts tell AI exactly what you want. And if it has access to all of your, things, in this case, this is detailed around my calendar, and I'm asking it to do very specific things and put little emojis if I need that to highlight certain things. So this is really about understanding, I think a lot of people get distracted and they're debating who is the best large language model, sometimes called foundational models. And while that's important, all the context, or what I'm calling the freshness of the ingredients and the breadth of the ingredients, that your AI assistant can access is absolutely going to determine whether your output is tasty or relatively bland. And with that, I will turn it back to you, Chef David.
Well, I absolutely love. I mean, I feel like you prepared this dish today with me in mind. This is so to my taste because I talk about how I love conversational AI, and I love all AI. I love the fact it's keeping our hats on our heads, even though yours is bigger today. But what I really love is the conversational AI I'm able to
Right,
chat with, and when it knows me, when it knows my stuff, it's so much more valuable. Now, it's not that big of a difference, but hey, let me share this Word document with you and get your opinion, as opposed to what's your opinion on this Word document. It's a big difference to me having it in the panel there, and so the value, and like you said, I don't want to repeat what you just said, but I'm so on board with you when they talk about the power of the large language models. I'm not as interested as how it's integrated and what it can do for me. What does it know?
right,
So that we yeah, I have an idea for a project for us. I want to make a tier list, like the kids make the tier list of the video games with the S tier and the A tier and the B tier, and tier these AI models on on their conversational ability and what they have. That was another word, but you know what I mean, and what they have access to. Putting the ones that can really work with us, and the one that is most like having C3PO data, my personal assistant that knows me, will get the
right.
highest rank.
Yeah, and at Enterprise Connect, I'm doing a session on Tuesday afternoon. I think it's at 3:15 with Brent Kelly from Omdia. And we're talking about how to get the most out of your AI assistant. We're not trying to rate them because I think that would be a good project or
That'd be
put them
fun.
on tiers. But we are trying to communicate to people so that they know both the strengths and limitations, right? Because if you're, for example, in a meeting, a lot of the AI assistants only have the context of the meeting. So even if you ask them something that the answer is on the web or in your calendar or in a previous document, depending on the AI assistant you're using, it may not have access to that. And I think that that's important to know because otherwise it gives you an answer, but it's not based on some of the information that you may expect. And therefore the answer, you could be misled by the answer. So we're trying to
Yep, we're not there
educate
yet.
people, right? No, we're not there. There's a lot of work to be done, but I think it's exciting time. So I think that tier list would be another powerful tool just
Yeah.
to help people have a better understanding.
We'll talk about it after the show, but I can tell you right now, the end result, no one is going to be top tier because none of them
Right,
have access to everything that I want. I'm a big fan of the Zoom and Copilot for having having my doc open, having whether it's a Word doc or a Zoom doc, having it right there. But I can, if I'm on the homepage of Zoom, I think I can ask it about my emails and my meetings, but I have to go to the Docs tab to ask about the docs, and then it doesn't. I have to go to each different one, and there's no one that knows all of them. There's no one that I could say, look in my docs, look in my emails, look in my
right.
unless if someone from Zoom says I'm doing it wrong, let me know. But as far as I've had to go into the tabs.
Yeah, I think all of them are advancing quickly, but to your point, nobody is yet, bringing all the information. Like,
We're
you talk
getting
about
close
like
though.
turning to another monitor and talking to AI like it's a person assistant. There's still a lot of gaps where the AI assistants, as brilliant as they are, will get some simple things really wrong because, they don't yet have access to, the things that you might expect.
Oh, that leads in. Whoa! Oh my God! What a perfect segue. That leads right into my recipe. Um,
Fantastic.
Talking about how if they don't have the right data, AI gets the wrong results. Is this okay to transition? I don't want to cut you off. If
Oh, no,
we're good.
perfect. It's over to you.
All right. So my recipe is very simple. Today we're having a half a glass of wine. What could be more simple? Oh no, we're having a full glass of wine. All the
We're
wine people out there
trying
just
to.
said,
I think we're
"Yay!"
trying to.
We're
Yes.
trying to. I think, and I know my wine people are like half a glass of wine. No, no, no. I want a full glass of wine. I'm not a big drinker, but a nice glass of wine. Yeah, I can be down with that.
Sure.
And for some reason, AI struggles to draw a full glass of wine to the point where it's comical. Let's teleport over to our display here, and I asked it, please draw me an image of a completely full glass of wine. I
Okay.
got
That does not look completely full.
So I specified. I said that glass is half full, not completely full. Make it overflowing, spilling everywhere, crazy. It's
It's
flowing through
spilling.
this. It's spilling. It's spilling through the glass. Um, so I said that's interesting. don't try it again, but why can't you do it? And it talked about the training data. If you think about when you've seen
Mm,
glasses of wine in your life, how many times have you seen a picture of a totally full glass of wine? In
right.
advertising, it's always half full. That's what looks good. It's hard to even, well, like, okay, I could visually, mentally picture it, but you really think of and if you search for Google Images, it's glass of wine. They're all going to be half full. So the training data hasn't seen a full glass of wine. It
Mm,
thinks that is full. In its mind, that is a full glass of wine. And I did the same thing with Copilot here.
okay.
Very pretty glass of wine. That's really nice. Then I
Candles,
gave it the
flowers,
same.
very romantic.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Is it trying to be my special friend?
I think
Um,
so.
and it gave me the same kind of thing. It's just
Oh, there you
uh,
go. Now it's spilling all over.
and again, I did the same thing. Make it crazy, crazy spilling, and it's going through the size. It just can't. It can't do that. And so you have to. And this is, there's no specific prompt or this is a little bit of a different kind of recipe than we usually do, but it's just you need to understand how these things work because it'll do the same thing with text. Um,
Mm,
it, in its mind, that is a full glass of wine. And it's also an empty glass of wine. Glasses of wine just are always half full, all range of glasses of wine. And it'll try to give you answers like that. Where you, and I asked it all, I said, give me a prompt that will make this work. And it couldn't. It
mm.
gave me a prompt that said, it used the word meniscus and it still didn't work. But it does this with text sometimes. And I had to give me an example with text. If you ask it for an example of movies, 10 movies where the villain wins at the end,
Okay.
that's just not a thing. There's not a lot of movies that are like that. There's movies where the villain kind of wins at the end. So I did that, and I mean, it gave me Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, I mean, okay, Darth Vader kind of won the fight, but at the end of the movie, didn't all the good guys get away?
Right,
And it's
right.
like, yeah, it really wasn't a victory. It just kind of it was a beating. And there were a lot of examples like that where it was a sort of a win. So you just when you're using AI, as much as I'm more than anyone that's been like, yes, it is alive, it is my magical friend, be nice to it so it doesn't turn on us. It really is just a computer program, and you have to understand how it works to get the right results out of it.
Yeah, I think, that's a great point in terms of just, yeah, and it ties into the context. This is the context of the training data, right? So while it can synthesize certain things, like it probably's never seen a picture of wine spilling through the glass, and yet it was able to kind of synthesize that overflowing spilling thing using probably some other training data images, but for whatever reason, yeah, it couldn't kind of get its way to topping up the glass of wine. So
Isn't it crazy? I mean,
yeah,
I could say make a unicorn drinking out of it, and it would probably be able to do that. Things
right.
that are crazy and fanciful. Aliens with lasers, and it could do anything. But a full glass of wine, it just can't understand the concept.
Yeah, no, but that's a great tip, just for people to keep in mind as they review the results, whether they're text results, as you say, the same kind of things apply. And same thing kind of with my original ingredient thing. If you don't have context, you can't really ask it about your calendar if it doesn't have access to your calendar. And if it makes up stuff, as it occasionally does to try to be friendly and keep you happy, just understand, if it doesn't have access to your calendar and it's talking about your calendar, it's just making things up to try to, meet your needs. But
It's just going to
yeah,
keep giving you half a glass of wine,
there you go.
no matter.
Well,
And
that's
yeah,
that's something to keep in mind. That's great. I think that's very helpful. That's a great tip that I will keep in mind, and then hopefully it will benefit the audience as well.
all right. Well, with that, I think we're wrapping up another episode. This is a fun one.
It is. It is. It is very good as always. Thank you very much, Chef David. It'll be great, as you say, to be cooking in person at Enterprise
Yeah.
Connect.
Thanks for watching, everyone.